I think we'll probably keep admitting folks as they join in. This is our first one. It's kind of, we moving on and launching this. So welcome. Thank you for registering and bearing with us as we use Eventbrite. Can you hear me okay? All right. So just a warm welcome. More of you awesome educators will be joining us as we go, and we'll do our best to admit it as we go. We have a quick introduction to the project since it's our first official Dive4Ag PD. So we get a little bit intro. For some of you, this will be repetitive information. For some others, going to be brand new information as they join in today. So just a quick kind of recap of what this project is about, and we'll jump right in with our guests presented today for our PD. So again, warm welcome. Thanks for signing up and being interested in either being a Dive4Ag educator with a whole commitment, or just eventually join our opportunities and able to share that with the youth that you interact with and teach. So maybe we'll do a quick introduction for those of us who are in the Dive project planning team here meeting today and our presenter. And as we do that, if you could just put it in a chat, just so everybody gets to see all your name. We expected to see a lot of you, so I don't think we have time for a round of introductions. But if you put your name, where you are today in a chat, and what your organization, so we get to know who it all is here today, and do a short introduction to all the educators in here, please do use the chat function to do that. Send a chat with your name, where you are, and what is your organization. So I will start with our team introduction here for who's here today. So I'm Susan Rowe. So very nice to see your faces on the screen and kick this program finally. As you all may have, you know that we all had pretty big challenges with COVID and changes in the university and all that we had to get in place to get this going. So, but we're excited to finally be launching our PD series, professional development series for the Dive4Ag project. I'm Susan Rowe. I'm the project director. This started like with my idea, and I got a bunch of really awesome partners to make this happen. I am the director of pre-college programs, the Office of Pre-College Programs at Oregon State University. So we run a handful of signature programs for K-12 audiences in a lot of teacher professional development. So this Dive4Ag is a partnership between pre-college and 4-H as central partners. And with that, I'll pass it to Maureen to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maureen Hosty. I'm a 4-H faculty based in the Portland metro area. And I am also working on this project with Susan, some other 4-H faculty, really exciting stuff. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to working with everybody over the next year.
Thanks, Maureen. And I see that Barbara is here too. And Barbara Brody is part of our Dive4Ag team. Barbara, do you want to just do a quick intro? If you can hear, Barb.
She might have had to.
Might have had to listen. So
we
send her a text.
Yeah.
We'll get an introduction. But Bob is also part of 4-H community, and he is here part of organizing the PD session with us. And then I'll let Eat introduce himself. He's our guest presenter today. Eat, want to say hi, got a short little intro to you and how you came to be in this project?
Hey everybody, my name is Yiğit. You can see my name, but G is silent, so it's pronounced. I'm originally Turkish. I'm right now in New York. And yesterday was the first day of my kids, one 5th grader, one 7th grader. And I want to start with this story. My 7th grader came in yesterday saying that that was his best day ever in his life. And it's like, why? Because I didn't have a home class and was going from classroom to classroom. And then I walked home back with my friends. I'm feeling like adult. So actually he's a 7th grader. Like he should have experiences when he was 6th grader. He skipped that. And then he is so excited and he was dying to go to school today. And then tomorrow morning he's going to meet with his friends. Versus for my 5th grader, she's kind of sad because this is her last year in her school, and then she loves everybody, all the friends. So mixed feelings. So how I'm involved? So I'm working for Timelooper, and as Timelooper, we are a virtual reality and augmented reality company, and we work with cultural and educational institutions. And in the middle of COVID, we met with Susan, and we started talking about this project back in March, maybe April last year, 2020. And then from there on, and it's very great to be here today speaking with all of you.
Thank you, Eat. So we only have about an hour and a half, but I wanted to pick back on some of his comments to kind of demonstrate some huge appreciation for all of you educators. I also have 3 kids in school, one starting kindergarten this year. So I don't know what heck kindergarten teaches up for all the kids coming in out of the pandemic. One in 5th grade and one is starting high school. So huge appreciation for the work that we do, whether you're teaching in a classroom or you're teaching in an informal context. We appreciate what we do, and we're happy, excited that you're interested in the project to come today and learn more about it. And if you're signed up already to be a Dive4Ag educator with a stipend, thank you and welcome. And if you're not yet, I hope you consider after this presentation today. Quick note, we'll be recording these presentation today, especially its part, because there's a lot of you who are already part of the cohort but could not be here today. So we wanted to have a way that they can watch this presentation and come back. So just a note that the presentation will be recorded and shared with other participants. We will share at the end of this presentation all of the website and the places where you can find all of the materials from my PowerPoints, videos, or anything that we share today here. We'll make sure to put it on our website and our page so you all can access it easily. So we'll share those at the end of the presentation today. Good. So if you could, mute your microphones if during the presentation, unless of course you have questions, please raise your hands using the raise hand feature or unmute your microphones. I'll ask Maureen and Eats and Barb to help me see, because I cannot see everyone in my screen, so I may not be able to see your hand raise. But we'll tag team, kind of making sure you address all the questions that you may have today and give enough time for us to dive into the Timelooper content in this first session. So I'm going to share my screen quick, and Maureen and I will tag team, just giving you a brief overview of the project. And can you see my screen? Sorry, I was having trouble earlier, so I'm double checking to make sure.
It looks good, Susan.
Great, thanks. So welcome to the Dive4Ag project. This is our acronym for a big long name that we put in this project when we send it to SDA to be funded. But basically it stands for Distance Immersive Virtual Education. And what we started to do last year with our awesome partners, which you can see kind of on the bottom, it's this project is led by the pre-college programs where I live, Oregon State University Extension 4-H, where Maureen and Barb lives, and a lot of other partners in this project live, and funded by the USDA NIFA grant. We started work last year with Timelooper on putting together a toolkit for educators, middle and high school educators.
Susan, just to make sure, we're seeing just a rainbow right now.
What?
Looking on your screen.
You seeing a rainbow?
Like just a background. Click again and see what.
Let me see. Let me do this again.
It's your home screen of your computer.
Okay, it shouldn't be. There you go.
There you go.
You see this now?
Yeah.
Okay, better. Thanks, Barb. Otherwise,
You're
I didn't
welcome.
want to go too far without knowing that you're
Yeah.
actually not seeing the screen. I have a
Thank you.
double screen, so I moved it to closer to my eyes to make sure I was looking at not looking at you. So you must have taken that out of your view. So there goes the screen. So I will give a few steps back. So this is the Dive for Agriculture project. So Dive stands for Distance Immersive Virtual Education. So this is a partnership between the Office of Pre-College Programs at OSU, where I live, and Oregon Extension University Extension and 4-H, where Barbara Maureen are, and a lot of other partners working in this project. Timelooper is our central partner here to help us bring in this state-of-the-art technology that you can use, and funded by the USDA, NIFA. Our big goal, but what is the project is about? What are we doing here or trying to accomplish? It is an ambitious project. We're all embarked last year when we got this grant into creating and designing something that we've never done before with the help of ETH and Timelooper. So it has been a huge process for us to kind of do things differently and innovatively and partner outside of the university to bring a level of immersion to some of these virtual opportunities that we're creating for schools. It is meant to bring Pacific Northwest middle and high schoolers opportunities to explore topics in agriculture and careers in agriculture using virtual reality and other online activities. Today, we will be talking about this really centered on the virtual reality component and the tools that we'll be using in the rest of the training and as tools for youth to access some of the content. So it's going to run us through some of that introduction. But the result of this project, when the funding came about, was about a fast response to the COVID pandemic, right? What it is that we can have that we can offer right away to support educators and youth on agriculture education in the time of COVID. Well, lo and behold, we know that this is not just a Band-Aid anymore. Virtual reality, online education is here to stay. There's some benefits, there's some cons of it. So this project had to morph into this, let's respond quickly to how do we create something that will be really impactful long-term and that other educators can contribute with their voice and to say, if I'm gonna use this, this is the way that this is gonna make sense to me, and get input into the design of some of those opportunities, as well as to really work with the youth to co-create some of those materials. So we're gonna hear a little bit about that later, but that is a big core principle of this project, is that youth voices are incorporated into the creation of the materials so that when those opportunities are out there and launched for anyone to see and use, the youth using and watching them, they're seeing other youth as part of a project like that. And as an educator, so as teachers, youth as teachers, teens as teachers, which is the program that Maureen runs. So with that in mind, quick share. Maureen, you can tag team with me with that. I don't want to take all the time here now at you speak. So I don't know if you want to mention anything right now before we go into this wheel. You good? You muted.
Not this time.
Good. So this is kind of the whole project in a snapshot. The opportunity that you having today here with this first PD session is just one piece of this pie, right? It's our educator professional development. Aside from the education professional development series, we have all of those other things that are happening and being offered for youth and being created right now. The educator professional development is the glue that will make it possible for youth to access some of those opportunities and for us to create products that will be impactful and useful by other educators. So in a snapshot, we have been doing already since last year some egg science cafes, which we'll have each one of the PD sessions, we can learn more about this. But egg science cafes are designed for youth to ask questions to professionals in agriculture and interacting them in a cafe style kind of presentation. So the experts in this project come in and are part of those science cafes with the youth that come to our presentations. We're gonna launch Beaver Hangouts in collaboration with this educator professional development that we're starting today. With the help of recruiting youth, we'll have some possibilities of creating mentorship Beaver Hangout sessions, online sessions where undergraduates can act as near-peer mentors to the youth in classrooms or outside the classrooms, but connecting in that way. We have done one cohort of teens as teachers. We have brought in a group of high schoolers to be in the first cohort of the Dive for Ag Teens as Teachers, where they got 6 weeks of leadership and mentorship training and went to the production site, one of the production sites with us, and actually were there leading all of the filming and recording and the creation of holograms and all of the materials that we need to send it to eat to make his magic work. So the Things as Teachers is a big element of this project. There was a group of amazing students that spent 6 weeks with us in training, created content and material for our agroecology component, and culminated in a big retreat with them to kind of finalize their participation in the project. And they're going to be maybe holograms in the apps. They're going to be voiceovers. They're going to be animated bees. They're going to be maybe a bunch of different things as we peek to the materials that they created. So Things as Teachers, and then we're going to share an opportunity. There'll be another opportunity for more high schoolers to be involved with it. So we'll share that in the end of presentation today. The virtual reality field experience is what we're here to talk about today a little bit and get introduced to. And this is the core of this project. So we're creating 5 virtual reality experiences that are being transformed into apps, free apps that when launched, anyone can download it for free and utilize it with their phones or iPads or devices, or with a whole, virtual reality kit that we're also purchasing for the project. So there are a couple of different ways of accessing that. These 5 experiences are around 5 topics: horses and stables, dairy farming, rangeland, the beef cattle production, organic sustainable agroecology, and aquaculture. So 4 different kind of field experiences that will be able to kind of visit visually when it's done. And at the end of this project, with your help as Dive4Ag educators, we'll close the project with an event, a half-day event. There will be a virtual ag challenge where youth in the event will be playing with variables and data and trying to solve a problem that's related to this content. So this is kind of the core of what the project is about. The virtual reality field experiences are being produced now, and that's why we're launching the project with the PD now, because now is the time that we can hear from teachers about how we make this meaningful to you, relevant to your context, something that would be impactful for the middle and high school students that you teach and most likely to be used. So thank you for that. Maureen, I'll let you jump a little bit if you want to share anything else as far as what we're doing in this project. Couple cents. You're muted.
I think at this time, I'll be talking a little bit later at the end, just information about, if you're willing to be a kind of partner to help us pilot test some of these things, there are stipends that we have available. And we're also hoping that through your contacts throughout the community, if as we're recruiting our next cohort of teen teachers, which we'll talk about at the end, that you might be able to help us get in touch with some kids that be interested in it, because it's a great experience for them as well.
And it's also a paid experience for the high school students and being part of the cohort. We pay them a stipend to be a part of this training. Okay, so in that, I'll move on and kind of show again just the Timelooper. We're going to hear from Timelooper at NEAT today. Other partners that we have is 4-H Extension in Washington, Oregon Sea Grant, Oregon Agriculture in the Classroom. And there are many other partners in this project that are part of bringing this content and the expertise that's guiding the production of our field trips. So you can find all of that in our website. We'll share the information in the end. And with that, Maureen, I'm going to jump this slide because we're going to talk about it. What does it mean? Some of you are hearing me say, be a Dive4Ag educator. Some of you have signed up already. Some of you are just here exploring today to see if you want to do this or just wanting to learn more. If you have not yet and you want to sign up to be a Dive4Ag educator, what that means is that you're committing to participate in the PD sessions. There's a total of 10 PD sessions. You help us recruit youth and facilitate the participation in the programs that are offered to youth. These are all virtual online programs, nothing in person. That's kind of the nature of this grant, that it's meant to be all virtual and online. Lead a youth group on a virtual agriculture challenge event. So your commitment to be here in May and June next year after the PD sessions and part of the event, the closing event, and offer some feedback for evaluation. So that's the commitment to being a Dive4Ag educator, and the stipend is $1,000. And we run it through at the end how we get that finalized and set up for you. With that being said, I'll just cook a quick highlight for those of you who have not gone on our website and look. This is kind of the 10 PD sessions we're starting today with EAT and Timelooper with the introduction to VR and AR tools. We'll keep going with Timelooper and shifting, oops, sorry, too soon, and shifting into working together to build AR VR tools. So after you have a little introduction, how can we get your contribution to some of these elements in the elements that will be in the more workshopy kind of presentation? And we're going to talk about the Xplore Lab pilot projects and educator features as well. So these are all things that are potential to be used through the project and through the apps that we want to clarify. And it will be much better suited to talk about them than I am. Once we get to the Timelooper tools, we're going to dive into some of the content sessions. We're going to introduce learning agriculture beyond content. So we're going to talk a little bit about the social and emotional dimensions of learning agriculture beyond content. So kind of a social emotional learning, recognizing that we are in a COVID after COVID period, and we need to think about how social and emotional learning get incorporated into our education efforts. So we're gonna have a little introduction to that with one of our experts and dive into the 5 contents. So we have dairy farm and milk processing, agroecology content, aquaculture. So we're going to be talking about oyster farming and some of the Oregon dulse, if you're familiar with that, some of the edible seaweed farm, rangeland cattle raising, and equestrian farm and stable. So those are like content PDs. Then we'll have a last PD being a preparation for the Dive4Ag event. And with that, I'll let it kick us our first one with Timelooper and talking about virtual reality and augmented reality.
Thank you, Susan. So today I'm going to talk about virtual reality, definition of virtual reality versus augmented reality. And then I'm going to show you examples, and I'm going to talk about classroom applications from different schools that we work with. And then we're going to finish with Xplore Labs, where we would like to work with you. Susan, can I share my screen? Can you stop sharing first? Thank you. So first, I would like to ask, how many of you have tried virtual reality before? You can use the hand gesture in the app. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a heart. I love that. So, so virtual reality is technically a 360-degree content, which means that when you are using the headset or any device, it puts you a location different than your present environment. So it blocks all of your view, which means you might be going to a place visiting a place from your classroom, or maybe you go back in time to a different time period at that exact location or inside the classroom. So, and then versus augmented reality is projecting a content in your physical environment. That's AR, and then VR is full 360 degrees. Now I'm going to play 2 videos. I hope my connection is strong enough that you can see as good as I'm seeing on my screen. So this one is an example of virtual reality. So it's trying to.
get this out of the boundary. And it came back negative. Came back 100.
So I've shown you a video that we created about 5 years ago. We were only doing virtual reality at historic sites. Then with COVID, we actually, over time with technological developments and with COVID, we expanded our technology and solutions for classrooms and cultural institutions. And then what we're gonna see right now is mostly augmented reality. Last year, we started virtual field trips. Let's look at that video now. The difference between the first video and the second video is one is students are projecting something in their classrooms versus in the other one, the environment is changing and then you only see the content around you, but not the real world. Sherry, you have a question? You raise your hand. All right.
No, it must be up from before. I don't know why it's
Okay.
still up, but I'm extra fancy, I can see. I'll see if I can get that to go away.
Right. So in order to use virtual reality and augmented reality, there are different options. One is, and then for virtual reality, the most immersive one is a headset like this. It's white, and then because of my background, you cannot see both of us, but I don't know.
Feel free to
see.
take the background off if you need to, so that way people can see it.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes. So you put the headset and then you have the controllers and I'm in a different environment. I don't see you, I don't see my environment. This is highly immersive. It is only used for virtual reality headsets. And of course, it is not always accessible, which in this program, this is going to be available for your use too. But that's not the only way of using virtual reality headsets. You can also use your smartphones. Just turn around and then look in 360 degrees. It's not as immersive, But when it's combined with augmented reality, it can be very meaningful. And then also you can use the website, which is, I'm going to show examples too. That's the least immersive. So now I'm going to start sharing examples, showing examples from different institutions. So let's start with virtual reality. Now I am sharing my phone screen. So you can see me from the camera and I'm holding my phone. That's my phone screen. So Federal Hall is in New York and downtown. And that's where George Washington was inaugurated. So whether I'm at that location on a field trip or inside the classroom, you can experience this only by using your smartphone. You don't need to have a headset. And it's not rotating. I do not know why, but still it will make it work. So, this is where we are. So now we go back in time.
It has been such an exciting spring. Our new nation's first electoral college has selected Revolutionary War General George Washington to be its first president. Rumor and notice of our war hero's pending arrival to New York City, now our nation's capital, has created a sense of festivity. He traveled from his Mount Vernon home in Virginia and stepped off a barge 7 days ago on April 23rd. Oh, look, now he arrives, escorted by Vice President.
Yeah. Another example, that was a video. Another example from one of our projects from Harry Tubman Underground Railroad. This time, we integrated oral histories inside a 360 environment. So this is where Harry Tubman stayed, lived, and there were
general store. By the
free
mid-1700s,
blacks and
white
then
Europeans established
white
themselves in
people, and then
Bucktown,
in this experience, when you are on site, or if it is part of
raising
your
animals,
curriculum,
food, and profit in
you can
timber.
look around.
By the mid
By tapping on different
I wish
people,
I
you can
could
get
have a
information.
slave or two. It would make my business trapping muskrats a lot.
It's busy at the crossroads today. I need a few things from the store, but I need to hurry so I can get back.
So as you can see, how I'm using it, I'm holding my phone and then looking around and exploring my environment. So now let's look at an augmented reality experience. While we are at Harry Tubman, wouldn't it be great to meet with Lizambi? What if Lizambi can come to the classroom and then talk about her experience? Or when we visit that historic house, she appears right in front of it and then talks about her experience. So now, again, I'm using my phone. Stand up. What I do is I first scan the floor and then tap, and then here's her hologram.
I have to keep my wits about me and behave normally. I can't let on what I'm about to do.
So as you can see, she appeared in my living room as a hologram.
Including babies.
So this is augmented reality. It's not full 360. I'm only seeing her.
Knife. You see, after receiving so many empty promises,
now let's look at different examples. So of course, this doesn't have to be a hologram. What if it is a, let's look at this example.
Hi, everybody. It's Ranger Michelle. Welcome.
Now I'm scanning my table. And then what we are looking at is the 3D map of a park from Colorado, Bar Lake State Park. And then all these pins have additional content, interpretive content. And let's start with Gazebo. So I said, there's another augmented reality. So there's an eagle in my desk, on my desk, and then with all these pins. And when I tap on these pins, I learn more about this bird.
Hey everyone, my name is Devin. I'm with Nature's Educators. This is Juno. He is a 2.5-year-old bald eagle. Now, bald eagles don't get their iconic white feathers until they're between their 5th and 6th year. So he right now still kind of looks like an Oreo. Now, we'll tend to see a lot of bald eagles.
Close this. So this is an augmented reality experience, and it's a great way of giving context to information and letting students explore and then learn more and get close. So this is, let's look at other examples. That was an animal, and then another example from Pearl Harbor. Let's go to Petra, actually. Petra is one of my students' kids' favorite. They haven't been to Petra. They would love to go to Petra.
Welcome to Petra in southern Jordan. Petra is not only...
So also this is a great way of connecting with the experts from sites as they are building this content. So now this is the area where all those historic structures are. Let's go to the church complex.
This complex comprises the Petra Church, Blue
Imagine
Chapel.
Taking students to Petra.
The Petra Church, as seen here in the floor plan, is a tripartite basilica measuring around 26 meters
really big,
east to west by 15 meters north to south, with 3 inscribed apses and 3 corresponding entrances. It was probably built in the last half of the 15th century AD. The church's preserved mosaic floor has...
Yes, can you please repeat? I couldn't hear.
Are we supposed to be doing what you're doing? Susan just answered, I think, or just watching. All I'm doing is you moving around with your phone.
Are you seeing my screen and what I'm sharing? The 3D models and then eagles and holograms. Have you seen those?
I haven't. Has everybody else?
Is everybody else seeing it okay?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Okay.
we are.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I need to change. Okay, thank you.
Are you on your phone? Are you joining from your phone?
No, I'm on my computer. I'll reset.
All right.
Sorry.
So that's a historic site. All right, so let's look at a nature example and then how virtual reality and then augmented reality is combined from Yosemite.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yosemite.
This time I'm going to scan my floor. So now we are looking at Yosemite National Park. And now let's go to Yosemite Valley here. And then here it is. So I'm again making it really big. So now literally I can take a tour, walk around the map and then explore and then learn about this park from these pins. These are all educational content created by the cultural institutions. And just to give an example of how we go to combine 360 with VR, augmented reality, sorry. Let me see, I'm trying to find a 360 content. All right, so let's look at the valley view, which is from here. I go and then when I touch, right now we are inside a 360 content. Then now I'm looking around. So now 360-degree content is much more meaningful because it's combined with augmented reality. Let's go back. Let's stop sharing here. Oh, I would like to show you one more example. So also giving access to historic houses and buildings. This example is from Japan, and then the library of UNESCO sites around the world is increasing. Now, which is a great resource for you to bring these historic places to your classroom.
This is Japan. The island. Once the ban was lifted, the Christians were finally free to worship their God. 17 local families chipped in to build.
Can you, as these are scanned historic sites, this project is very important for Japan, because during samurai period, Edo period, Christianity were not being able to practice, and they built these hidden churches on remote islands, and now they are under protection, and these are being used inside the classrooms in Japan as we speak. One more nature example before I stop sharing is from Redwood Forest. So it's important to understand the scale of these different artifacts. And we're working with California State Parks, and then California State Parks has classroom education programs. And then what we are looking at is a redwood tree. And then what you can do is inside actually what students are doing, like they're going out their backyard and then making this tree as big as until these figures, you see in front of me, as big as I am, and then to see the actual size of a redwood tree. And again, this redwood tree has educational content. Scientists climb to different heights of this building. This tree, when you tap, then you go inside the tree and then join the scientists and then learn more about the tree and then redwood trees. And this one, I don't know if you can hear me.
All of these reiterated trunks coming off of these limbs. And look at this limb is probably 1.5 meters diameter.
Again, it's a 360 content. All right, so I'm going to pause here and answer your questions before I move on to how these are being implemented, used inside the classrooms.
Carrie Taylor had a question there that I attempt to answer, but make sure I answer that correctly over there. She was asking if students can access this from any device, right? Or not required?
Yes, they can use headsets, they can use mobile devices, tablets, Android phones, iPhones, and also there's a desktop plugin that we developed, and then I have only one example today, but all of these will be also available on desktop.
Right, and what I would add for as far as this project go and what it is creating for us, we have two ways that our experiences can be accessed. One is through the VR sets that we purchase that can be borrowed. It's gonna travel around through Oregon, Pacific Northwest, and be donated to places, central locations, so folks can use the sets with the preset experience in that, so it's very immersive. Or they can access to the app. So this get created as an app like it was showing. And if you were educated and you were still teaching online, you can share your screen and run the students through the VR experience that way, or anyone can download the free app with a compatible device and do the same thing that it was doing, is scanning of their house and walking through it as if they were walking into a place.
How many sets are available to lend out for those that don't have access?
We gonna purchase, I think, Maureen, if you can remember the budget, but I think we purchased a set of close to 100 and distributed like sets of 10, 15 in different locations across the state with partners, and hope with the help of extension offices and libraries so that they can be borrowed and brought back for someone else to use.
And also for the extension faculty, that might be something you could use with the stipends that you get. because it would become in the form of a supplies and materials.
How much do they cost? Or can you send us that an email?
Yes. Yeah. Katie has a question. Did I hear you right that there are devices that will have these programs preloaded and will require Wi-Fi? That's correct, right? For the preloaded sets that will have you set up for us, that would not require any Wi-Fi for them to go through the experience, right?
No, they will be ready to go.
Is there a specific age group that you're looking for to do the outreach for?
Yeah. Middle school and high school is the proposed project, is to attend to middle school and high school level. Again, if there's a confusion when we say educator for you can be a classroom teacher, you can be a 4-H educator, as long as you work with the youth from that age level group regularly and can bring those experiences to them, and that's what we care about. And middle and high school level is the level that the activities and the lessons are being created for. Maureen will share later today too. We created a frequent asked questions for educators wanting to use this opportunity. So at the end of today or by tomorrow morning, you get an email from us with the PowerPoint and links and everything that you need to know, including the frequent asked questions. So you have other places to refer to as well.
Let me answer the question for the desktop version.
Mm-hmm.
So let me share my first phone screen.
And maybe while you're doing that, if just a reminder, some folks have joined a little bit late. If you could put in your chat your full name and your organization, if you haven't done that already, that would be terrific.
So now we are looking at the version through my smartphone. I can move it around. I have full freedom. And then all these pins have content, educational content. Now, and then we're going to create a version of this, and then the headset version where you can also see it through the headset. If we were using a desktop, which also works with Chromebooks, it will look like this. The same model, and this time I'm on my browser. Come here, I start the experience, skip the introduction. So now we are looking at the same model, as you can see, but now I'm using my mouse to move around and look around. And I, select House of Representatives. This is Washington State Capitol. I'm inside a 360 content, looking around, and then
the House of Representatives is one half of the Washington State Legislature, the branch of government in charge of making laws.
So this is how it works on a browser. It's less immersive, but more accessible. So about the classroom implementation, here's what we have seen so far. There are multiple ways of using this. One, a teacher brings one device and it connects to the projector, and that can be teacher-led or student-led. So let's imagine that it's you open the Pearl Harbor, and then on the Pearl Harbor, the student is actually walking around and then activating and then giving a presentation, or the teacher is using, let's say it's a 360 picture video, looking around, and then having a conversation. It's very interactive. That's option one. Option two, in some schools, they don't have, if they have 25 students, but they do not have 25 headsets, like those cardboard boxes where they can put the phone. So it's station-based. In station one, you're studying the topic. Then you go on to the station two. Station two has 5 mobile phones with cardboard headsets or without the cardboard headset. Then the kids explore, and then they move on to the station 3 and then station 4. So it's station-based. It is well integrated, and this is part of the classroom exercise. And then number 3 is joining with joining to all of these institutions. Most of these institutions, they provide virtual programs. Just like I have shown you, teachers are joining to these Zoom sessions. And let's say that I'm an interpreter from, or historian or scientist from the site. So I'm making the presentation. Imagine you are all students, and then you are seeing what I'm showing you. It's a great presentation for the teacher. So most of these institutions, what they do is they give their content for free, and then they ask teachers to use it inside the classroom or ask their students to use it. So most of the students have access to a device, not their own, but their parents, but it's not required because also it can be used inside the classroom, so that when the historian or scientists are moving around, students know what they are looking at. It's a more lively conversation. And then also sometimes, like this is 50-50, they use it after the virtual feature. So then the scientist says, you don't have to do anything. We'll look at it together and I'll tell you. And then you can explore it further during the classroom time. That's the third way, which brings us to a new product that we would like to work with you. What if students could create content? But before I move on to that, I would like to answer your questions.
Something that may help with the questions here too, so to clarify this, as far as the content for this project and the 5 field trips that we're creating. So our intent behind having the sets, the VR sets and everything set up that you don't need internet and be borrowable is one way. So, but there's not nearly enough sets, right? That's we're gonna have to create some borrowing system and strategic locations where they get set up, but it is a more immersive experience because you're wearing the set and you're not seeing anything around you. The apps, it can be designed for classroom or outside the classroom use with the device, but it's less of a immersive experience, right? Because you're still seeing what's around that projected image in front of you. But it's designed to help educators and youth have an alternative to using this product as well. We are creating lesson plans, supplemental lesson plans to go along with that. So it's not just the experience of going to the field trip, but we'll be making it available middle school, high school level lesson plans of activities that build from that experience or connect to another experience. And also build on with the science cafes and Beaver Hangouts is like coming from the content of what we're learning here in this oyster farm to career pathways and college readiness and preparation. So there'll be tools that'll be together in this package with these virtual realities that we hope will be useful for you. And that's where we need your input.
I was going to say, I was going to ask that question as a former teacher, maybe Kahoots, like an introduction to this, like a cool, fun game that leads into it, and some kind of lesson plans that reinforce what it is that was learned through using this virtual augmented lesson, which is a cool concept if you ask me. So sounds very interesting. I think I can see many kids interested in this component. So,
right. That's a great question. And so that's the intent. So there's lessons are in there so you can have the experience and then think that through. And then the virtual agricultural reality challenge in the end that we're designing, it's an opportunity for the students who then experience the field trips and did these lesson plans to do some task-based oriented challenge, right? Whether they playing with like we don't know what that is yet, But it could be something where they're like in a dairy farm, in an organic farm, and they playing with variables, whether you use an organic compound or something else, and see the results and projections of it. So they'll be applying some of that knowledge that they learned through the apps and the lessons into solving a problem in the challenge.
It would make sense if you're going to have this and create lesson plans to have them do a final project of what they actually learned as a compilation of, you know, you're doing these cool things of the little wheel circle, which was awesome. You know, the ag, the teens, interactive, this whole component that incorporates a holistic approach, some project that allows them to touch bases on each of those components on your circle that teaches them that can learn knowledge, like teaks, but you know, for lack of a better word, of the objectives that they actually learn, not just this is cool, but what did they learn, and apply it to an actual project, kind of a, you know, think of a senior thesis kind of thing, you know, a stone project or something. That would be kind of fitting to engage them and allow them to show what they learned, learn knowledge.
Great. Thanks for the feedback, Melina. And yes, that's the point. And I think that may be a perfect segue here if there are no more questions for what it's going to talk about next, because that's where we are and need your help and input into thinking, how do we then, we know what we're doing with the apps, we know we're going to have these lesson plans and other activities. So now how do we have an opportunity here to pilot with you and the youth that you work with something where the youth are actually doing what you exactly just said, Melinda, create, not just receive, but create. So I'll let it jump on it if there are no other questions before we go there.
If I may ask, what are the actual objectives of this grant that you did through USD? I know you always have objectives, and what is the actual outcome? I guess that would help me have a better understanding of having written grants to see the finished product. I mean, I'm sorry making it complicated, Maureen, but that's how I think. I'm very organized and structured. I need to have, for every action, there's a reaction. What do you do here that you end up with the end result? And I think that allows you to see the progression of what's being done and to have a better understanding, which is a great program. This is awesome. I'm looking forward to implementing this and recruiting people and getting kids excited about learning. You know, we hear the naysayers about Zoom and it's taking its effect on kids, but if you have something that's engaging and worthwhile, educational, it's learning, but also it's giving them an opportunity to take the lead and help create something.
We just listed 2 of our objectives and goals there, Melinda. Yes. You're right on.
You just
one
did
of them is the forest. One is just to, you know, during COVID shutdown, when we're doing all this online learning, how do we make it more engaging? And this is one of the ways. And second, how do we engage youth in, you know, leadership and, you know, creating content with us and keeping in mind the social emotional learning. And the third one is a big one is, you know, because USDA is sponsoring this, is, you know, introducing kids to agriculture, you know, letting kids who've never been to a ranch or farm walk around, you know, so exploring all the food systems.
And thank you for sharing that. I'm also, again, I'm a firm believer as a former educator. I get your objectives are middle school and high school, but I believe you plant the seed in elementary. To get maybe some, I'm thinking of having a family engagement kind of day and introducing this, but encouraging them to bring the younger ones to in the process, because you're never too early to learn. And I think when you plant that seed, you're allowing the teens to create some content and they're getting excited. Not only do they learn, but their family learns, but then they become the role models to their siblings. Because again, I feel like the little ones, the clovers, are being left out. But if you make it a family thing, it becomes an immersive thing and it's inclusive. Because we know about, you know, extension, we want to be inclusive, diverse, and have equity. This will be a great opportunity and a platform for them to be inclusive. Looking forward to it.
That is a great point, Melina. And that's why we have the apps as well, not just the goggles and the lessons, because the apps are just more of a family group approach. And the events, they're all open to anyone to attend as well. I think for the NIFA purpose and the kind of, we had to hit one audience mark in there. And because we're doing the thesis teachers as the near peer mentor, so the high school students are creating things. So they're creating things to the middle schoolers to look up to them as near peer mentors. that being said, I mean, it's the next step is see what we come up with. What else do we do to just continue on? Because I see what you're hearing. I'm having this, I hear what you're saying, and I'm having the same conversation about all the projects that we are including elementary, middle, and high school, because they start learning and forming these ideas at elementary level. But depending on what grant funding you go for,
Yeah.
the parameters to meet. Yeah.
But you're saying, Maureen, excuse me, and Susan, is the teens as leaders, so they in turn can actually teach this lesson to the little ones, and that's learning and giving back, correct? Social emotional, kind of turning the table, let them be the leaders, and in turn they teach the little ones. So I think it's a win-win when you think about it, because it becomes all inclusive. You're meeting the needs of the objectives or NEFA. You're not denying that.
Yeah.
Become the leaders or the teachers. They teach the little ones. So again, I think there's always loopholes. Time loop. For lack of a better word, there, kind of tying everything in there. So, just saying, where there's a will.
Yes.
I don't mean to be hijacking this conversation.
No,
but
no, please, no, do not feel like that. Do not bother. You're fine. That's what we want. We want this feedback. That's what we're here for. To get how are you going to use this and what the next steps we'll do with that. That's why we're doing this program for PD educators, because that's the same idea. I mean, that we're doing with you. It's not just, hey, it's not a fire hose that here's the information, this content, right? And that's why we have the stipends, and we need the feedback, because we don't want to make a product at the end that nobody's going to use. It's not going to be meaningful and relevant, because the stakeholders were not part of creating this. So that's part of that idea. Anyway.
Is there an evaluation component to this, Maureen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I don't see any other questions so far. Okay. Eat.
So, all right, so far what we have been looking was consumption, learning, exploring. But how can we, to Melinda's comment, how can we make them part of this process? Doing is learning, and then as actually this idea came up from my kids, and then they said, like, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? So we have been for so many kids, and then I've seen my kids working on projects, especially in a digital format during COVID. They used PowerPoint, it was extremely difficult for them to do it. Then we said, what can we do? Is there a way to make a very simple process, content creation process for the students? And that's what I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you the first prototype. It's a beta product. It's not live, and it's just creating the content, and it doesn't have any teaching tools in it yet. So this platform is called Xplore Labs, and let's go here. You can see my screen, right? Everybody can see. All right. So there's multiple steps here. Let's just work on an example. And let me see if this is my account. Yes, this is my account. So as I said, I'm from Turkey. And this past summer, we went to Turkey. And when we were in Turkey, we went to Ephesus. Ephesus is an ancient Greek city. So let's go to find that on the map. Let's say that's what I am. All right, this is the historic site Ephesus. This is the most complete Greek heritage site. It's 2,000 years old, and during its heyday, Cleopatra came here. It served as a capital, and it used to be next to the water. Let's let it go up. It's a UNESCO heritage site. Now it's very far away from water, but it was a port city back then. Zoom in again. Maybe some of you know there's an ancient library here. It's when you will search for Turkey, it's one of the images that pop up. It is here, but let's go up a little bit again. Close the labels. All right, so the box that you see here is the map that I have been showing you in these apps like Washington State Capitol. So what you do is in this first step, you go and find the place that your project you're working on. And then by moving and dragging these boxes, you select the area that you want to see in the map. Because actually this place is here. Right. So now I selected my 3D environment. Next, I go here and then add pin. This is the pin that you see on the map, those white dots. So I know that the library is here, so I place it over here. So then, and let's name this as the library. And then you can add as many pins as you want. Then next, you go and then you assign content. You can upload from your computer, or you can put it from YouTube. If you are doing a field trip, kids can go ahead and take pictures and then upload those pictures. So you can upload anything, or you can give students resources, resource packages, pictures, images, and they can use those. Let's upload the content. So this can be regular image, video, 360, hologram, 3D assets. These institutions are also uploading their own content like holograms and 3D models that you can use. Let's use a picture from my computer. Here's a picture that I took my kids from this trip. Oops. And you can add an audio description and you click save. And you go next. Here, let's name this project. And then add description what your project is about. You can add an icon. You can make it a link. This is a UNESCO site. Let's select UNESCO, so that's when search can be found. And then save and test. So now I saved it. Now I stop sharing this. I'm going to start sharing my phone. And launching the app. The app that will come will support this. So you can see all these, we're also consolidating all these different experiences under the same app. So it's also a resource by itself. But when I go to my Xplore here, so this is my Xplore tab, and opens my experiences. So I've been working on different things, testing, but here you see FSS. So that's my experience. Then I tap, and it says View in AR. So I click on View in AR, scan. So now here's the map. As you can see, we're looking at FSS. And as right on my desk, imagine this is being student's desk. And then imagine this being a presentation created by them. And that's the ancient theater. And then this is the street that goes all the way to the water, but now it's not next to the water. And this is where the library is. Let's go up. Let's look at a picture that's taken from the library. Here we go. So it's like the picture that I took and then I just uploaded. So this is a great tool not only for presentation, but contextualizing the information. It can be about science, it can be about climate change, it can be about animals, it can be about history. What happened, where did it happen? And another beautiful thing is, let me stop sharing this. And then going back to this tool again, because this is where we want to work with you. Let's go back and add another pin. Go and assign content. So link to another experience. This is a really key component because now students can collaborate. Everybody can create their own experiences and then they all can be connected. So when you click on a pin, it goes to a classmates section and opens that part. So it works both as a collaborative project, but also individual project. And as a teacher, you can also create experiences and assign them, ask them to use that as a resource itself. And then as you can see, it is super easy. Select the map. And by the way, this doesn't have to map. This is going to be an option for 3D models. Then add pins where you want to add information about and add content about that. It supports all the formats, YouTube, videos, links. And then with one click, you save and test, and then students can share this link with you. You can see. So it is a very simple, creative tool, which was actually we transformed the tools that we use for ourselves. We simplified it and designed so that anyone can create. In the next phase, what we want to do is create functionalities that is important for students, for teachers. So now with that, I'm going to stop sharing and answer your questions. Our next session's focus will be discussing, okay, if this is the tool, what are the things that you need to see so that you can use this inside the classroom effectively? That's the topic for the next session.
Which touches to a couple of questions I've received here that I wanted to make sure I touched on. So, because I'm pretty sure for some of you who never used this, including me, I've never used this before. So I look at this, I'm incredibly overwhelmed. We will make sure that whatever we use here, we'll have how-tos, we'll have Timelooper support, we'll have ways that will provide you the support to learn how to use this and use that with the students for sure. So be assured of that. And just a couple of clarifying notes too. And that is including for Maureen and Bob, right? Because our project started at EAT and Timelooper did not have this product.
No.
And so it's new product to us and a conversation with EAT as we're trying to design how we're going to do this PDs and how do we make this challenge event and how do we create. He came up and said, wow, we are piloting this. I was like, perfect. This is a perfect place for us to say, look, we have the apps, we have the VR experiences. You can use that as a consumer, as an educator, and use it with the youth, get them used to these things. And now we can pilot a way that they can then go, okay, they went through the dairy farm, did the virtual experience, and then they went with their family somewhere to another farm and they found something. They took photos, or we give them a task to do that they can create, and they can create their own map and pins. So in a way, what we create here at Dive4Ag are constantly dynamic and being added by youth using that and their experiences around the world with that topic, if that makes sense. What I'm trying to get, is that correct, Eve?
Yes.
But that's the idea, that when we close this project, it's not a closed project with a lesson plan that you do and you're done with, but that there is a place now where students using this and other educators using the way after the life of this project can go back and create and do projects as you were talking about, Melinda.
And I know there's a lot of 4-H extension faculty on here as well, and this could be something great, you know, to share with your teachers, do workshops for them, teach them how to do it, let them do it in the classroom. So yeah, I think it'd be really exciting. And we knew about the virtual reality things. Is the part we didn't know about was this last
one, yeah.
Yeah, that it was showing us is really cool.
Yeah. That's what I meant, Maureen. Like, I just learned the last part not that long ago, and it said, do you think we could present this to the educators, and we'll be the first ones to kind of pilot how to use that with youth and get youth to use this? It's like, sure, let's talk with them about it. I think this is a perfect segue to what we already knew, and now this new opportunity to be the first kind of ones to pilot this for Timelooper. So
will that be one of the PD can that, and Susan, Maureen, can that be one of the PD trainings, is how to actually use that last piece, that more immersive, how to set it up, or will we receive lesson plans for that as well?
Yeah, the next PD, it will dive more in detail with that, but I think we have plans to create how-tos and provide any added PD and support or sessions for those educators that say, yes, I want to try and pilot this up. So we'll become a group that will have the support and extra information or how-to documents, videos, how-to videos or anything, how to use this. And it will be at our, his team will be as supportive as we pilot this.
And
in terms,
I was just say, Sherry, I agree with you too. Having these is even having kids making virtual garden tours of their sites would be amazing, you know? So, you know, we could have tons of garden tours all over Oregon.
Right.
And they could
so in terms of, so the product, I mean, there's, the more you play, I mean, 7 years ago, we started with a 360 image. And then a year ago with Susan, we were talking about this map and then pins, and then every idea brings new ideas. So when we look at this as a tool, what I have shown you, it looks really exciting. My kids are also dying, and then they keep using it. And then actually, last year they studied, Ariel, my son studied Greek history, and then my daughter studied the Silk Road. And then during the summer, they created projects for their project that they studied last year. Right. But there's so many other things that we can add. What we would like to do is, what are the things that you need that comes with this, like all the curriculum and everything. And then also, we should, I mean, ideally, we would like to start using this as it is from today with the classroom so that they can start creating. And then we would like to collect feedback from you. As a teacher, what are the things that you want to see that is not working right now or is missing? So all that feedback is very important so that we build all those features with you, for you. And the starting point is just giving in the hands of teachers and then students, and then observing and collecting feedback. And I think that's the, that's why we are very excited about this program now, building something with you, for you.
Then also I was going to ask what objectives are, or what's expected of us in doing this outreach through Dive? You know, what are the expectations of us as educators? Is it an hour, you know, dedicated to doing this? You know, what are the expectations?
I'll jump in. So, and Melinda, we'll send you the FAQ as well, but we're asking that you to participate in the 10 development sessions, and then recruit a group of kids that you can help pilot this with. So maybe for you, it's with the families that you want to pilot. You're going to be giving us feedback on it, and then participate in one of the either ag science cafes or the Beaver Hangouts, things like that. So.
Right. Thank you.
One point I just thought of it to kind of share too, because that pertains to the aquaculture kind of one of our field experiences. One other creative way that we didn't even intend to, but it was brought to us by the expert that is a benefit for us in creating this is like, even if you go to oyster farming, you're not really underwater seeing what's happening. So this is also a tool that we can transform somebody in a virtual reality place where they would not be, they could not be, even if they were there inside, and kind of looked at what really happened to the tiny organisms and kind of whatever put it in there. So I will say, without saying too much, that there are many other projects blooming out of this one, with different topics. So we'll make sure to keep you updated on that. There are like climate science ones, tsunami preparation ones, like what happens if we put somebody in when the Volcano fault and they can see exactly what happens when the earthquake hits. So there is a lot of kind of things are emerging from just people seeing what Timelooper can do with our team and doing for this project with the Ag Center. So we're going to learn a lot using those tools and what is possible. To me, the most exciting part of it is that we're creating something that will leave past this project that can be used by you and that can be a continuous place of growing knowledge by the youth population. Like I learned this in a DIFOAG project about the dairy farms, and I'm on vacation somewhere in Brazil. I'm from Brazil, and my kids will be there to say, what does a dairy farm looks like in Brazil? And they can create their own little visual experience that the friends can see. So I think that's a huge outcome of this project that wasn't even on the proposal, but made possible by Timelooper and the fact that you are all here today. So. So that was, I think we have 6 minutes to stay true to eat. This was me and Tanya. It was a lot of talking at you about the overwhelming you with the information and tools that we have available. But it's like as a first introduction, just please be sure that as we engage in using these tools, we'll provide you the support that you need and the how-tos or any support that's needed for you to be able to use that and use it with the youth. And clarify any further questions in that way. The next PD sessions will be more playing with things, trying things out as well, and sending you off to try a couple of things so that we can answer questions. But we're excited to get that kicked off. And I mean, in the little bit that we have left, Maureen prepared, thank you, Maureen, for preparing that. For those of you wanting to sign up and are not OSU and have to navigate our system to get established as a DIFOAG educator and be paid for it. So we'll share a few of the information, and I will follow up with an email to all of you who are here today and who will be watching this video with the links to the next session right away. So you get a little more timely response on that. On our end, that was a little short notice to you. We gave you short notice on this one, so as we're getting prepared for it. So we'll send an email follow up tomorrow morning with all the links for the website and the presentation and everything else in our next steps as well. But Maureen, taking on to kind of talk a little bit about how we get you set up if you want to do a fully committed. Of course, if you don't have the time, don't want to commit to be a don't want to commit right now, you're more than welcome to come to any PD sessions and learn about these things as you go. These are free and open to everyone. That's why I have the Eventbrite, because we have to keep track of who are the cohorts being paid for and who are the people that are coming here to one session or the other just to learn a little more about their content so that we can get back to them as well. Great. Yeah. Awesome.
So maybe I'll just jump in. So I will be working with you.
Maureen, just a minute. Sorry, just a minute, Barb. Sarah, if your question doesn't, Sarah's asking how do we know if we're part of the DIFOAG? So I don't know if you saw that in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to answer. So
Perfect,
I was going to say,
you.
yeah. So Sarah, the way we're doing it is you are registered and we got you part of the DIFOAG. We knew some people. There's a lot more people that signed up that weren't here today. So hopefully we're going to get them connected. They can watch the film or stuff. So if this is something he says, yeah, I'm all in, I want to be part of this, I want to get the $1,000 stipend, I want to do the full thing. We're going to be sending you, I'm going to be sending you some information. I'll be following up on how we can get you officially registered in our OSU system so we can pay you. And then we'll, like I was taking attendance today and stuff, so I know who all's here. So we'll just keep following up. So when you registered, that signed you up. If you just want to jump in from time to time to see what we're doing, that's fine too. It's your choice. So anyway, I'll be, getting you set up in the system. Sometimes with OSU, I have a little tutorial on how to do it, but if you have problems, I'll be the person you go to. And then I'll work with the 4-H faculty that are on this call too about how we get you your budget supplies. And then
how soon can we start? Oh, sorry. How soon can we start?
We'll get back to you on that. Yeah, probably we'll probably gotta get through a few more sessions because we don't have our first program ready. As soon as we have that ready, we'll get you started. And then Susan, did you have the slide for the Team for Teachers?
I did.
Okay. So Susan's going to be pulling up. Just last thing we're going to ask everyone in the last 2 minutes is if you have high school students. Oh, this is your next steps on.
That's what you're talking about. So I'll have it.
No, I was thinking about, yeah, there we go. Our next group of Team for Teachers. This is another sort of opportunity. We had, you see this cohort of teens that they went through a 6-week training. They were actually the ones out, making the content, doing some of the filming. They'll be the ones in the holograms, doing the, interpretive information, things like that. So if you have teens, we would definitely love to, we'll be sending out information as a recruitment for any teens that want to be involved. We love to get kids all over the state. And they meet virtually. They also probably will have like a retreat at one point where they'll do some of the work. But we definitely love for you to help get the word out and we'll send you those announcements soon. And those they get paid a stipend, I believe. Here we go, Susan.
150.
Yeah. So, but it's a great, it's a great resume builder too, I have to say, for a kid to be able to put on their college resume or a job saying, I helped create these virtual 3D, things that are being used from Oregon and Washington. And that's amazing because the kids are really doing a lot of great work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll share a little bit about this because you can see I went to that retreat, the community retreat. So this group of teens worked for 6 weeks on developing their leadership, teamwork skills, and learning some of the content in agroecology with our experts. And we went to the site that we did the filming, 360 filming, and we set them. They are now directing. They were there with the videographer. They direct all the filming, the 360 filming, decided the scripts with our contribution, the educators' participation, but they wrote all the scripts. They recorded all the videos for the holograms. That's the first photo there is us at the 4-H center over there with a studio set up when we're recording them doing the holograms, voices to possibly become a hologram. They did all the voiceovers, so they're all mostly produced by them. They learned how to set up the studio. They learned how to do all of that. And I should share this because, I was really glad that I got to go to the retreats because I don't get a lot of chances to actually be with the youth and seeing the impact that these programs have on them. So it was a really great experience to be there. And part of our evaluation, I think our major thing that came from them is saying, we've done a lot of programs like this before, whether 4-H or youth programs, and they've always been the same where we just kind of we're given the ABC, here's how you do this all, and kind of talked to, and they expressed, even though they struggled in the beginning because we had to give them that space to be challenged. You learn these skills, you're practicing this, now you're going to direct this videotape, this recording, you're going to choose the places where we're going to record in this garden, why we're choosing those places. This is what we're doing. So they all recognize that they were all challenged in the beginning to do that, but all recognized in the end that this is the kind of experience that they want to have more, whether they are not being directed to do something, but they are actually creating something and working together to create something with our help and support. So it was actually one of the outcomes that we wanted to have, to create something that they have their voices, their co-creation, and they recognize that as important and as an opportunity that they don't have often to really feel like this is created by them, and that's going to be them in that video, talking with the help of the experts. So it was a really great experience to see them. They were fantastic. You would laugh seeing us there because, it was really fun to watch because we're getting there and it was like, I've never used a studio set before, so we're gonna do this, and we all did it. And they were fantastic in the materials that they created, the scripts that they wrote, and recording themselves, getting out of their comfort zone to record and be in a hologram and doing the voiceover of everything. One of them even came up with a little funny voice that we're probably going to use it to create an animated bee. eat. She recorded in both voices, her normal voice and her animated voice, and it was fantastic. It was like, this is a animated bee for the agroecology field trip. So they come up with things that were not even in the script, and it was fantastic to see that. And they all want to come back and go to the, even though they're not a cohort anymore, there's plenty of them that still say, if I can go to the site the next time and I can get my parents there, can I still come and see this? So they were pretty amazing to see. So we're doing another round of that. They did the agroecology site, so another round is going to be doing the rangeland and beef raising site. So. But we'll share, so this is a website. I think Kristen gave us a website to how they can apply. Of course, we have limited spaces because this is the really in-depth work with the teens. So we have like 15, we have a criteria to select from the applications. Once they're in the cohort, they will engage in the 6-week training and then the production kind of process with Timelooper and with the experts and the educators in the project. So if you could share that opportunity, I'll make sure you have the link tomorrow. So by tomorrow, I'll send you a thank you for coming email with the PowerPoints that Maureen created to how to sign up to get the stipends. Once you are signed up in Benny Bai, we know you were in. That's it. That's how you become official. We're signed up there and we know we have to pay you. And you'll become part of that cohort. And then I'll send the link for the teams as teachers for you to disseminate and a PowerPoint, every information that you need to know moving forward before the next session. Right. I think with that, we're like 6:04, so 5 minutes over. Maureen did create a quick, for those of you who are not at OCU and don't know what Benny Beaver by, I don't even know what's going on, Benny by, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, we created, Maureen was gracious to create a how-to screen capture. Here's how you sign up. So we have that in detail for how you do that. To address, if you are a OSU 4-H person, and I know Maureen, you have addressed that about how we can deposit that stipend into your shop accounts and be used by you, so we can answer any questions if you have further questions in that. But we're excited that everybody's here and excited to embark on that. So,
and we'll maybe try and get some price sheets for what some of the equipment costs if folks want to use their money to buy equipment.
Yeah, I have that in the budget, so that's yeah, we can just put that in some of your cohort materials before the next session. Yeah. And we haven't ordered all of them yet, so that's something that we can put it together with our order as well if folks want to order this.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing this so I can see more people. There it is. So that, thank you so much. You get an email from us with further directions, and you will be a Dive4H teacher or just come and see us every now and then.
Okay.